The 21st century has been a transitional period between two eras in human history. This phase has been pushed forward by two great forces: demographic change and the rise of the productive leadership of machines. For the first time in history, old conservatives and consumers of products and services have outnumbered young people who are entrepreneurial, productive, and willing to take risks. And for the first time in history, the human factor is not predominant in the economy and is being limited to ever smaller areas that have not yet been colonized by machines. This fundamental paradigm shift has led to the world being a completely new place, both globally and in the personal lives of citizens. Geopolitically, the situation in 2099 is much more peaceful than it was years ago. China has disappeared as a global superpower due to its demographic collapse, going in the first quarter century from having a population of 1.4 billion people with a still young majority, to less than 600 million with too great a weight of mature and elderly people. The United States has managed to maintain its position of economic leadership by sustaining its demography thanks to Latin American immigration, although there are no longer any major global military rivals to justify strong foreign investment policies, and the governments of recent years have focused their actions on domestic matters. A new global main actor is India, which has replaced China as a major global producer since it has managed to maintain higher birth rates and a younger and still productive population structure. The process has happened organically, without war or major diplomatic conflicts. In the rest of the world, the consequences of demographic change have been similar. Europe has also disappeared as a major international economic player, replacing what were once highly skilled and productive workers with new generations of immigrants who are primarily providing services and care for pensioners who still retain a certain level of wealth. And in other regions without immigration, such as Russia and some Asian countries, the decline has been even greater. The capacity to create new economy is now lower, domestic markets demand less innovation, and the international technology race has partly lost its meaning. Nations concentrate their resources on domestic interests and base their external relations on sectoral specialization. There is less global competition and war is no longer necessary. But the great change of the 21st century has occurred in the structure of society itself and the relationships between individuals. The economy as it was previously known is now limited to specific environments. The population has declined and is aging, leading to smaller markets with less need for innovation and opportunities for technological disruption. On the other hand, the emergence of artificial intelligence leadership and robotization has been reducing the professional areas where humans can still add value. There are now few sectors where a machine cannot do the same thing more efficiently and more cheaply. This has resulted in billions of people simply not being able to work. There is no economic productivity room for them, it is impossible to compete with machines, and the situation has caused great social tensions and violent conflicts in the second half of the 21st century as more and more people were condemned to starve to death. And so the inevitable solution to the problem has been finally implemented: universal basic income. Governments have been forced to adopt new internal economic structures to ensure social peace by providing their citizens with minimum products and services that are supported by taxes from those sectors that are still productive. So in the year 2099, society is divided into two environments: the productive one, and the one sustained by the system. The two bubbles are separating, and there is less and less permeability for people living in one of these two spaces to move into the other. The productive environment of society is defined by the high level of economy and services, while outside that space the system-supported society is moving towards new standards. In the productive bubble of society, we find two types of individuals. On the one hand, there are the owners, who have accumulated resources by inheritance from their ancestors, and are the ones who bring economic capacity to investments. On the other, there are the specialists, workers who carry out their activity in production areas that have not yet been overtaken by machines. They have very high employment benefit because they are few in number, and their skills require effort and training that is increasingly difficult to find. Outside the world of productivity, things are changing and new paradigms are developing. Citizens who cannot work receive basic benefits to survive, which makes it impossible to have an economy of savings and investment at scale to generate wealth. It is impossible to sell non-essential goods or services to people who only have the resources to acquire the essentials. But in this sector of the population, there is a new abundant commodity that is beginning to take on a new meaning: time. For the first time in human history, billions of people do not need to spend most of their resources on work and personal survival activities. They are guaranteed basic products and services, and on the other hand, they know that it is very difficult for them to access specialist status in the productive sector of society. So, in the year 2099, most people's only option is to seek meaning in their lives in non-economic activities. And here we have two types of people. One part of this population is redirecting their interest towards personal, social, and family relationships. After decades and generations focused on career advancement and social interaction via digital platforms, there is a rediscovery of traditional values that had been lost. This is also leading to a certain rise in the birth rate in this environment. And for people who have definitely adopted more independent lifestyles and are not going back, the new society offers individual choices such as cultural activities, social altruism, living with animals, nature sports, and more. The 21st century will be a transition to a completely new situation, and there are too many unpredictable factors to know for sure what the world will look like after this change. But humanity has faced major crises before and has always been able to adapt and keep moving forward from new circumstances, and this is our best hope for the future.